Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the CFL Weekly Show presented by 13th Man Sports. It is Shane alongside Blake. There is no Cole or Coach Phil this week, but I know we have taken a lot of the last couple of weeks off. We are back. We will be back to our regular scheduled Wednesday lives as work kind of got chaotic for everyone involved. So thank you for bearing with us. We will be back to our regular scheduled Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Live shows going forward. There's a lot to discuss. Between CJFL and CFL. We haven't done a show in a couple of weeks, so we got a lot to discuss. I think it's been about 4 weeks since our last show or so. Lot to discuss. How you doing, Blake?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, I've missed doing the show, but as you said, life got a bit hectic and whatever. And as we've talked on the show before, we all have families and jobs outside of this. As unfortunately, not yet at least, it doesn't pay us enough to pay our bills. So, but yeah, it's been a busy summer. I mean, been doing some kicking around. Thought I'd get a few weeks off from hockey and stuff like that, and unfortunately, that didn't turn out to be the case. Well, unfortunately and fortunately, but definitely been able to keep tabs on the CFL, of course, the CJFL with my Langley Rams there, the BC Lions, who are finally starting to heat up at probably a good time, and it's been a good time, but definitely glad to have a show back.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely been missed. I missed it too, but work has, you got to pay the bills, and you got to put what pays the bills first. Um, you know, but before we jump into the CFL action, let's jump into some CJFL news
Yeah.
with you know your Langley Rams off to a immaculate 4-0 start, coming off a bye week this week. Arguably and easily, I should probably say easily, the best team in the CJFL after what was an abysmal 2025 season.
Yeah,
I
season
think,
they missed the playoffs in the first time in forever.
yeah, going like 1-7.
2-7, I think. Yeah. But
It was definitely not what people expect from the Langley Rams when, you know, given their history.
no, definitely, and it's nice to see as a Rams fan. Haven't been able to get out to McLeod Park yet. I was hoping to get out there next Sunday. I don't, or next Saturday, pardon me, the 29th. Don't know if that's the case. I've had something come up that might put a wrench into that plans, but I know they have a big matchup with, as you said, unfortunately, Cole still has some work commitments for a little bit while longer, but with his VI Raiders, I know he'll be at that game on Saturday, and should be a good test for both teams as the Rams already beat Okanagan, but the Raiders are coming in hot at 3-1, I believe. They got the win over West Shore a couple weeks ago on the final play of the game. So we'll see if the Rams can kind of put belt to ass, as Cole likes to say when he's on the show. Then I think it's pretty clear that they're the undisputed number one in the CJFL and of course the BCFC. But if the Raiders can keep it close, like maybe the difference between the top of the BCFC isn't as big as we kind of think it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the BCFC as a whole. Langley's 4-0, and then you have a three-way tie for second with Okanagan, Vancouver Island, and West Shore, all 3-1. And then it's the Prince George Kodiaks, 1-3, the Kamloops Broncos, who if I remember correctly, I don't think they've won a game since 2023.
That sounds about right. Yeah, unfortunately.
Because I think I know for a fact they lost every game during
Last year.
2024. They went 1-9 in 2024.
Yeah. Which
Uh,
is crazy to think because they have and the name is slipping my mind at this moment, but they have the guy that He's been with the Lions for a couple of years now. Like Jacob Bond was former or the not Jacob Bond. He's from the Sun. The wide receiver Colton Mikau.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the Broncos for 3 4 years, and I know that as you do as well, Shane, that one player can't make a team, but you would think in some of those closer games that he would make that catch that kind of puts the Broncos over the edge and gets them a win. But unfortunately for Kamloops, it just hasn't been the case.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about one player shifting the tide. I think when you look at Langley, it's very much one player shifting the tide.
Yeah,
If you've watched them with Overstreet Jr., just like a menace for opposing defenses, he'll either beat you in the air or beat you on the ground. He's been an absolute unit for them.
yeah, set or tied the CJFL record. The Rams last game with 10 passing touchdowns. Like the Rams won 76 or 75-0, and he didn't even run for one in that game. All his touchdowns were through the air. Like that's how crazy he is.
Yeah, and he has a really good arm. And if he wants, there's a very solid argument for him to go to U Sports next year.
Yeah,
'Cause he's only
because
22.
you and I were talking about it. He has a year, or he will after this year have a year of eligibility left to go play U Sports. So
Yeah, Daryl Overstreet Jr. so far has 1,400 yards. And 18 passing TDs through 4 games.
yeah, just
Now 10 of them have
nuts.
come in one game, so he's had 8 across the other 3. But that is, and he's only been sacked twice.
Yeah, but that also
Holy-
those 18 passing touchdowns don't account for his rushing touchdowns.
No, and his rushing touchdowns, he has 5. So he
Yes,
has 23 total touchdowns through 4
in
games.
4 games.
Absolutely
Nuts.
great.
Nuts.
So, and on the flip side, you move across the country, you go to the PFC, who started they're going into their 3rd week this week. Actually, before we do that, this week's games for the BCFC, like you mentioned, some pretty interesting ones. So you got the Okanagan Sun against the West Shore Rebels.
Yep.
And then in Victoria, in West Shore's hosting. Then you have the Langley Rams in Vancouver Island over in Nanaimo. And then you have Prince George versus Kamloops. So Prince George should be able to get their 2nd win of the season. Valley's on another bye.
Yeah.
Say what you want, but if you're Okanagan and West Shore, you're looking at it as like, hey, I can cement yourself as 2nd in the BCFC.
Yeah,
with
for sure.
Unless VI can pull up the upset and get the win against the Rams, you assume they're going to go to 3-2. One of West Shore or Okanagan is going to go to 4-1, and they're going to put themselves in contention as at least solidify that number 2 spot.
Yeah, like I would definitely be looking at it that way. Okanagan, I'm sure. Well, really, all 4 of those teams. Like it's early enough in the season that all 4 of those teams really believe that they're the number 1 team in the BCFC, and these are. I mean, I'll go out on a limb, and I don't know how much of a limb it even is, but these are probably the playoff matchups, like VI and Langley, Okanagan and West Shore in some sort of variety. West Shore might come over to Langley, VI might go to Kelowna, something like that. But more likely than not, these are the 4 playoff teams. So these are a bit of statement games, as the BCFC is kind of inching towards the halfway point of their season. As we talked about it, like this is already week 6, I believe, because the Rams had a bye last week. They're 4-0. So yeah, this would be week 6 in the BCFC. And with hosting the Canadian Bowl, the winner of the BCFC hosts the national championship this year. So
Yep. And looking ahead, obviously looking to next week in week 7, you have VI versus Okanagan.
Yep.
So from
And
a VI
Okanagan's already
perspective,
up 1-0 on VI as they played in week 1 in
yeah.
a game that
So,
was closer than the final score would indicate, but Okanagan ended up winning, I believe, 45-17.
yeah, if you're VI, if you're the Raiders, I know we try to avoid the looking ahead, but if you're the Raiders, you're in a situation where you're trying to avoid dropping down to 3-3.
Yeah.
Like if you're West Shore, you're going into a bye next week. If you're Okanagan, like if you're West Shore, you're looking okay. If we have to beat Okanagan, going into a bye, you lose. If you lose this week, Okanagan have a chance to go to 5-1. You're stuck at 3-2, and Vancouver Island would be 3-3.
Yeah.
So now you're definitely in the rear view for that second spot. So a lot to going on in the BCFC right now between the top 4 teams.
No, absolutely.
Uh,
But
yeah, but moving on to the PCFC or PFC, the Prairie Football Conference. We had an upset last week.
a big upset.
Big upset. The Edmonton Wildcats will take down the defending Canadian Bowl champions, Saskatoon Hilltops, in Saskatoon,
Yeah.
which makes it even better.
Except for that backup O lineman on the Hilltops. But
Is what it is. So the Huskies and Regina, the Thunder, are 2-0. The Wildcats and Hilltops are tied 1-1, and then the Colts and the Rifles are 0-2.
yeah.
The Colts have been a very mediocre start given their coaching staff. There was a lot of hype around the team, a lot of hype around the coaching staff this offseason. Very underwhelming first 2 weeks.
They kept the game with Regina close for the most part. I believe the final was 27-14. Do you have it there in front of you, Shane?
Last week, I think it was 27-9.
Okay, yeah. But for the most part, that game was close. But yeah, the Calgary Colts definitely, I'm sure, not happy with that 0-2 start. The Edmonton Wildcats, actually, I'll give a shout out to Coach here because I didn't even know this until I saw his interview. Odell Willis is part of that coaching staff now. So
Yep. Yep, which is great.
yeah, I love it. I
team-
love that he stayed in Edmonton after retiring and he's giving back to coach junior football now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're seeing a lot of it, right? Like, especially in the PFC, like, there's a lot of former CFLers currently hanging out in the coaching ranks, right? Like, Ottawa has Dominic Rhymes is
Mhm.
one of them with the Sooners. So, and then, but PFC, I think right now it's Regina's to lose, right? I think it's
Yeah.
Regina versus Edmonton, like the Huskies. Obviously, you can't discount the 24-time Canadian Bowl champions and the defending Canadian Bowl champions with the Hilltops. But I feel like this year, it is very much a Regina. Like Regina's poised to win it. I know
Yep.
Coach is gonna love it. He's been doing a lot of stuff with the Thunder, so he's all about Regina right now. But I am very intrigued to see what happens in the PFC because again, Huskies are doing really well. Could they be that number 2 seed? Will the Hilltops be number 3 or number 2? Could they storm back and somehow be number 1 because they can beat the Thunder?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
Huskies, like they're still in contention to be the number 1 seed in the PFC, but that loss to the Wildcats makes it harder because now you have to beat the Wildcat and the Thunder and hope that's your only loss of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, because if they split with the Thunder, the likelihood of the Thunder losing another game the rest of the way probably wouldn't be very good.
Yeah, and they have the Wildcats at the end of the month.
So
The Hilltops are back in Edmonton against the Wildcats, and I think they have. I know, like that September, I'm not going to be around for it. I will be away from every known connection. Um, but man, that September 12th weekend, I know we're looking far, far ahead right now, but that September 12th weekend is going to be immaculate.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
You have across you have London versus St. Clair, you have Langley versus Okanagan, and you have the Hilltops versus the Thunder on the
Yeah.
Saturday.
And
Three
that's not even
absolute
counting the fact that this will be the first time in history the CFL is doing a quadruple header, which is on that Saturday.
I know. I'm going to be away at a cottage that weekend.
I know I'm bummed about it too. The only game I'm going to make is the Lions game because
Yeah.
thankfully it's at home and it's the last game of the day. But I'm going to be at work for the other 3 games.
Yeah, I'm lucky that Ottawa is not is in Toronto that game for that day.
Yeah. But
Yeah. All right, and then moving on to the OFC. I was in. If you were checking out our Instagram store, our Instagram page, I was at the St. Clair Ottawa game. I burned the hell out of my neck. I'm glad it was healed because it looked like a lobster for a couple of days.
Shane, do you know what sunscreen is?
I was on the wrong side of the field. I forgot that the GG's field, the only half of it is like covered in trees and the other half is exposed.
Oh gosh.
And I was obviously on the side that was exposed because I'm not going to cross over to the corner and where you have to cross the field to get back to the main entrance.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is what it is. It was a great game to watch. The Saints were beatable. Again, I don't know if it's first game jitters. It's a new quarterback. I don't know what it was.
New running back as well, as their running back transferred to Langley back home. But
yeah, they very, very interesting game. Ottawa could have easily won it. They had opportunities. They got stopped at the goal line. They had multiple opportunities. I know the score is 21-8, but they had a last second, literally the last minute, they scored that extra touchdown to kind of seal the game. So they're going against Hamilton this week. I think it's actually a very big game for St. Clair. You have to dominate. You have to put belt to ass, because if week 1 is any indication, the Sioux are coming for them. The Cougars are on their tail, and so are the Beefeaters. And if they put up a performance, and they know it, they know that if they put up a performance that they did against the Sooners, against those two teams, they're more than likely going to lose. So I think this is a very big week for the OFC, for the Saints, and also a very big week for the Sooners. They play the Beefeaters, see if they can get it turned around. The other games, Quinty didn't really look that good. I was able to watch, I rewatched the highlights. They did not look that good against the Beefeaters. They only put up 8 points. And then Hamilton looks like they've taken a step back in the OFC. And they do not look like they're going to be they may as well be the 4th team. They could.
Yeah.
That's where they're going to slot. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to compete much for anything but that 4th seed in the OFC. I think that it's going to be St. Clair, the Sioux, and London, and then everyone else.
Fair enough. Just quickly going back to that week of September 12th there, Shane, just for a moment, we also forgot to, or kind of neglected, I guess we'll say, to mention that by then U Sports will have started as well. That'll be week number 2 for U Sport.
Week number 3.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Sorry.
U Sport. I don't know if it's for all, but I know for OUA, they start next week. OUA starts is next week.
Yeah, I believe UBC in Calgary. So Can West has exhibition games next week. Yeah. And then the week of September 4th, I believe, is the start of the regular season.
Yeah, for OUA, it'd be week 3.
Yeah.
I'll be missing the home opener for both the GGs and the Ravens, unfortunately, due to work.
Actually, when's the Panda game this year?
When's the Panda game?
Yeah.
I think it's October 11th.
Nice, nice. Are you gonna be at that one?
No, not if that's when it is. That is. Oh no, it's October 4th. So yes, I will be there. I will most likely be
Very
there.
nice, very nice.
Because yeah, that is.
I mean, obviously, as people
no,
that
I'll be working that day. Damn.
as people that watch the show know, with Coach, myself, and Cole all kind of coaching in the high school ranks. It's a bit hard to get out to UBC games as they play a lot of similar nights, but if at all possible, I'll definitely try and hit up at least one UBC game this year.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm hoping to get to at least 2 Ravens and GG's games combined, like 4 in total. But obviously, with work and home life, it might be easier said than done.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, because I think. Let's see if I can find the football. That is not. Also, before we continue, shout out to the men and women flag football teams for clinching their spot at the 2028 Olympics. Shout out to all the men and women who competed in those tournaments.
And not only that, Shane, sorry to cut you off, but the women becoming world champions.
And that too. Knocking off the U.S.
I'd have to say that that would make the women at least favorites for the gold medals in LA.
I would think so. To be fair, I don't know enough about how the flag football stuff works to really comment on it.
Yeah.
But congratulations nonetheless.
Yeah, as former CFL head coach in Winnipeg, Paul LaPolice, was the coach of the men's team. So, and the men's team did it the hard way as well. They lost their semifinal that would have clinched an Olympic berth, but since the U.S. got to the final and are the host of the Olympics, that made the bronze medal game an Olympic qualifier, and they had to go to overtime, but they were able to get the job done against Mexico.
Okay, so that's how. Okay, I was curious on why. Again, I don't know a lot about the flag football side of things, so I wasn't. I was trying to figure out why.
Yeah, it's because the top 2 teams outside of the U.S. Got the spots, so that's
Canada and Mexico get it, or
Canada and Italy. Italy beat Canada in the semifinals, so Italy is team number 1, and then because Canada won the bronze medal game, Canada is team number 2.
That makes sense.
But we're 25 minutes in almost, Shane. So should we talk about what the show's named after, the CFL?
Yeah, well, we gotta hit the other important parts of Canadian football, right?
Definitely.
We've definitely made ourselves known as people who cover all.
Yeah, for sure.
What the heck?
But
the U Sports website is not working properly.
Have you gone on the app lately? I haven't even looked at the app. Neither.
No, the app is awful. It just redirects you to the website.
Does it still do that? They never fixed it?
I don't think so. I tried it for like a week and I'm like, this is stupid, and I stopped using it.
Anyways. I do have a question to ask you, but I'll make sure to ask off air. But anyways.
Okay. But yeah, let's jump into it. Don't want to talk about the 0-9 start. That's just, it is what it is.
How about the president being fired, but not actually being fired?
Yeah, so he wasn't fired. He stepped down. He felt like it was time that they had an actual, because he did both, right?
Yep.
He was both for the 67s and the Red Blacks. Part of it was, you're 0-9, you need changes. But a part of it was they needed a designated president. Someone who would be there with them, work through it, not have to dip, have to leave Ottawa for 3 days to go to OHL like events and whatnot, right? Or have to go deal with the OHL stuff while they're 0-9.
Yeah,
So, you know,
but
it wasn't an easy decision. I had the pleasure of talking to him after it happened. Great guy. Wish him nothing but the best. Hope the 67s have nothing but success. But I think it was the time that they had designated like football and designated hockey. I think it just
yeah,
we needed it. Um, my thing is, I hope they don't go with anyone who has ties to the city or the current, or at least not the current iteration of Ottawa football.
yeah, that makes sense.
People are talking about bursts. I'm like, it doesn't. You need a new voice. You need like there's only one acceptable person if you're going to bring someone who has ties to the to the team, and it's Jeff Hunt.
Hmm.
Like that's the only acceptable option if you're going to go that route. They need to go new. They need to go fresh. If they want to, I do want to say that like the team tried. Like OSEG consistently tried to put a winning team together and put a winning team
Yeah,
on the field. It wasn't like they were sitting there like, oh no, like 0-9 is acceptable and like we're fine with 0-9. We're not gonna, we're just sitting here with our hands on our laps. They tried. You look at what the money they've spent over the last couple of years on bringing in key players and by CFL standards, big names, and it just hasn't worked out. And that's sports, right? Like we see it all the time in the NBA, in the NFL, the CFL, where these guys go out, they get big names, and it just doesn't work. And it is what it is. But I think they needed to go. They need a new direction, and hopefully I'll be able to be at their press conference when they get introduced.
yeah. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I mean, it's unfortunate because like, and I know you said you don't really want to talk about it, so we won't talk about it for too long. But like, the Redbacks have been close, like in a lot of games this year. Like they've been a lot of their games, even just last week with Winnipeg. Like that was a close game until pretty much the end, and then Winnipeg scores a touchdown with 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever it was left on the clock. And they unfortunately lost by 12 points. But like the best team in the CFL right now, like the Montreal Alouettes at 8-1, when they played them the first time, not so much when they played them a couple weeks ago, but when they played them the first time 6, 8 weeks ago, whatever it was, week 3, week 4, like they had Montreal on the ropes for a lot of that game. And unfortunately, they just weren't able to get over the humps.
They have 17 players on the 6-game IL.
Yeah, it's
like
as a Lions fan, like you don't need to talk to me about that. Thankfully, we're starting to get healthier, but
they had 18 players on the 6-game at one point last year.
Yeah, it's just
at some
that's
point
not sustainable.
Yeah, and I think 14 or so. AJ posted something. I'll see if I can find it later, but I think he said that there's 14 out of the 17 players on the 6-game injured list are defensive players.
Yeah.
We're starting 3 Canadians in the secondary. And 2 of them are second-year players.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't get any worse. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Mayer has been a problem.
But he hasn't been the problem.
He's definitely been, at least offensively, he's been the problem.
Fair enough.
Like, there have been multiple opportunities where he misses an open throw. He underthrows it. He can't connect to continue a drive or connect in the end zone. And then you hit the goalpost 30 yards out.
Guy tears his ACL with a clear path to the end zone.
See, and I think that's the thing is that, like, okay, you get a touchdown on that pass, and then you get a touchdown on the Robinson pass.
Yeah, they win that game against Winnipeg.
Yeah, it's a completely different game. You have the first time you play Saskatchewan, you have 4 drop interceptions.
Yeah,
won the game. Like
when they played Winnipeg in Ottawa, same thing. They
And then
they dropped all those interceptions in overtime that
that
would
was
have
against,
won the game.
that was against Saskatchewan.
Yeah. So
In Winnipeg, it was they had a lead, and then their offense went 0-4 on their 4 drives in the fourth quarter, and he only produced like 2 first downs.
yeah.
Like, and you had teams on the ropes. You've had opportunities to, against Toronto, they had opportunities to get a lead. Their defense held, you know, in the first half they held them to like 4 straight drives that ended in either a punt or a turnover, and they couldn't get a single point off of it. So I don't think they're as bad as the record indicates. But when you're 0-9, it doesn't really matter much.
No, exactly.
So jump over to Montreal because they're making
Yeah.
waves.
Yep.
Two best players in the league, the best team in the league. Coach of the year favorite. The question is who's going to be MOP. You have probably the MOC on that team.
I think we have I kind of called it at the beginning of the year. I think we have a dual winner. If he even keeps up like 80% of his pace that he's on right now, how do you deny him the MOP as well?
But you give it to Alexander, who's feeding him the ball, right? That's the argument. Is like, as good as the receiver, like as good as he's been, are you going to deny what Alexander's done for him?
Yeah, but the
And
counter argument is Alexander's numbers as good if he's not throwing to Philpott?
Yeah, in my opinion, this is why I hate the East versus West, because those two should be the finalists. Like,
Yeah.
as good as
No.
Rankin's been and as good as Mills has been, those two, as of right now, should be the finalists for MOP.
You're not going to find any arguments from me. I completely agree with that.
And then there shouldn't even be a West candidate for MOC. They just give it to Philpott.
Yeah. I mean, we all know it's probably going to be Nate again, even though he got hurt, but like, whatever.
Or is it going to be the battle of Philpotts?
Yeah, it could be. Could be Jalen.
The battle of Philpotts. Because Jalen's had a really good year.
He has kind of slowed down, gotten a bit quieter over the last couple of weeks, but still up there in receiving. I believe he's top 7 or 8 right now. So,
And it's going to be interesting to see how he continues with Aju and Damian Alfred back.
yeah. And Calgary's on bye this week, so we won't hear any news, but potentially no VA as unable to come back from that game. So we'll see how bad the...
I would hate to see VA go out for like longer than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I think that's Calgary season right there.
No, I would agree. And it's unfortunate because we'll talk about it in a second, but that wasn't the hit. The hit that I was gonna mention was the Deontay Williams hit on Dedrick Mills, which he's been scheduled for a hearing with, and then conveniently he was a DNP in BC Lions practice today. But
yeah, but the Montreal, like what Moss and Calvillo has to be up for a head coaching gig if he chooses to do so at some point, right?
Oh, I would definitely think so.
I don't think there's going to be a head coaching gig open this year. Like, I don't think Ottawa moves on from Dinwiddie after a year. I mean, I don't think the only coaching gig I can see open up as of right now might be Hamilton.
Yeah.
But after a key win last week, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. So,
you mentioned Moss for coach of the year, but there's another guy that's pretty obvious to me, at least. Mark Killam in Edmonton. Like, to finally get, after years and years of the Elks starting so poorly and then desperately trying to get back into the playoffs, this year they're top of the West, 7-3 going into this week.
Yeah, still one of the worst 7-3 teams I've ever seen, but they're 7-3. Like, Man, I say that kind of jokingly because like they're 7-3, and like
Yeah.
all you can do is win the games that are in front of you and play the game. It does, you can't say anything about your opponents of this, that, or the other thing. Like it's the same thing with Ottawa. Like they're 0-9,
Yep.
right? You can say that they're the best 0-9 team you've ever seen, but they're still 0-9.
Yep.
I think Killam gets killed. Like obviously, I think it's going to be Killam, especially if they keep it up. It's going to be Killam versus Moss, but given the current projection for Montreal, who might go, 16-2 or 15-3, you
Don't go 16-2 if you're Montreal. But
go 17-1.
I don't know.
Imagine-
That might be worse, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
But I think I mean, you know what I hate though? I hate the fact that the coach of the year is now presented at the combine.
Oh, so bad.
So dumb.
They even do it like, and of course, I've had the privilege of being at the awards the last 2 years. The CFLPA hands out their coach of the year at the Grey Cup at CFL Awards. But then the CFL itself does it at the combine. Makes no sense.
To be fair, I think there needs to be more. I don't think there's enough cohesion between the CFLPA and the CFL in terms of their awards. That being said, I don't think any voters, like any writers or media personnel, should ever vote on awards. Should only be the PA or execs, like coaches, GMs, and the PA.
But
I
it'd be an interesting awards process. Let's put it that way. But
yeah, I don't know. I feel like coach of the
full
year.
transparency, we haven't been given the ability to vote yet. So
Yeah, I don't think I would want to.
really,
I don't think
But-
so. Again, I'm in a strong belief that media personnel should not vote,
yeah,
and I think it's across the league, like it's across all leagues. Like awards should not be decided on writers.
no, that's fair.
It allows for too much bias. I'm not saying there's bias in the CFL, but like we're human, there's always going to be bias. But that allows for too much bias. Like we saw it with Schaefer in the NHL last year.
Yep.
And the guy was like, "Oh, I didn't read it or I made a mistake." But like, we see it all the time with players getting votes by their home media in favor of players that they should, just because they're homers.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't want to feel like I'm accusing anyone of being like that in the CFL, but it's just you see how some of the awards have played out over the last couple of years, and I feel like there's a heavy recency bias or a heavy name bias in this, in all sports. But like, I had a gripe with some of the award winners last year. If you've listened to the show, you fully know which one I've had the biggest gripe with. So I would not want to vote. I would not want to. I would, if offered, I'd probably decline. Honestly, I don't think I could do it.
Fair enough.
But that's just me. That is just my personal opinion. Who's next to talk about? There's a lot to talk about. We haven't talked a lot about things for a while.
Yeah, no, there is a lot to talk about. I mean, let's go to Winnipeg. Like they're still kicking around. Like they're 5-4. They have a big game coming up this week with the Elks. Like, I don't know. I think I know last time we did a show I called the Elks frauds. I'm not gonna totally walk that back. Like I don't think they're gonna finish top of the West, but they're gonna make the playoffs. Like I think the probability of them having a home playoff game is probably pretty good at this point. But like Winnipeg, like what are they truly? Like they looked awful.
They're old and they're slow.
They looked awful when Claros was hurt. When he came back, they were okay. They were able to get past the Red Blacks, but like this week is a true show me week for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Like, if you want one last kick at the can, like one last run with all these guys, it has to be this year. And if you want any hopes of finishing first, you have to win this game against the Edmonton Elks this weekend.
Yeah, I mean they're not going to. Stanley Bryant needs to retire. He's lost such a step this year, absolutely ridiculous. Like it sucks to see him kind of struggle the way he has, but he needs to retire.
Yeah,
I think Winnipeg is going to be that third seed and get bounced in the first round to whoever's second. Like they're going to be that third. They might if they make because again they're going to be between them and BC.
yeah.
And I think Calgary might be able to squeeze back in there if VA isn't out long term. But I'm gonna be fair. I don't think any of those three teams get past Saskatchewan or Edmonton in the first round, given their current play.
Yeah, I mean
think
the
BC
Lions
is probably the only one who I feel confident saying that would put up a fight and could do it. But given their current play, I don't see any of those guys being able to go into because like right now it's Edmonton, Saskatchewan, and for the sake of it, we're just saying I don't see any of these teams going into Saskatchewan and coming away with a win, given their current play.
No. Like even the Lions since Rourke came back, yeah, they were on a 3-game winning streak. One of those was with Caden Salter, but they've not looked good at all. Like they were lucky, and I will fully admit that, to beat Calgary last week. They tried their darndest, even with the backup in the game, to give that game away to the Stampeders. I think they were the better team, but again, they were lucky to beat Hamilton a couple weeks ago at home. And then, like the Winnipeg game, Winnipeg just wasn't prepared for Caden Salter and Xander Horvath. Like, there's no excuse for what happened from the Bombers' side, but when you rush for 370 yards or whatever it is, like, it's pretty obvious that they weren't prepared for those two guys.
Yo, Horvath, talk like him and Thies, absolute units running the ball.
Yeah. He I know JB was injured and like it sucks to lose your job to injury per se, but Horvath has to be the RB1 for the Lions going forward. Like, to me, there's no question anymore. He has to be RB1.
Yeah, I don't know how you don't put him back in I don't know how you take him out. So what, back-to-back weeks as player of the week?
Yeah.
Like, dude's an absolute unit in the backfield. You know. So who's next? We talked about Winnipeg. We talked about Ottawa. We talked about Montreal. Do you want to talk about BC?
Yeah, we can. Like I said, the Lions of their record is better. I still think they need to play a complete game. Like, I'm hoping that it'll happen this Sunday against the Riders. I'm a little more scared about this game. I was a lot more confident yesterday, and then I saw the Riders injury report and like the fact that they're getting way healthier than I thought they were going to be, which scares me a lot. But again, it's another, like, we talked about Winnipeg, this game being a show me game. Like, this is another show me game for the BC Lions. Like, if you want any hopes of hosting a home playoff game or Western final or anything like that, like, you have to win this game. Because if you win this game, you are a game back of the Riders and you play the tiebreaker game per se, like the third and final game of the season, at your home field a month from now. But if you lose this game, you lose the season series to the Riders. Potentially, you fall to 4 games back of Edmonton. And at that point, all you're doing is fighting for that third and final playoff spot out of the West. And with Hamilton picking up that big win last weekend, the crossover isn't even guaranteed anymore. So if you don't pick up your crap fast after losing this game, potentially on Sunday, you might miss the playoffs. And as a BC Lions fan, as a BC Lions supporter, and I know as an organization, that would be unacceptable for the BC Lions to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, this might. I don't know if this is gonna be a hot take. This might come off as a hater take, but I think they need to move on from bets.
Yeah,
It's a
I don't
lot of money
disagree.
they're paying for a DN where you have massive holes everywhere else that you can probably allocate some of that money to. Um, I mean, he's been a lot more consistent this year than he was last year.
Hmm.
That's for sure. But I feel like given like that secondary's been awful for most of the year. That some money allocation from some of the top players needs to be kind of if especially if you miss the playoffs this year,
Yeah,
like if you miss the playoffs this year, how do you go into next year? Sure, there's gonna be a salary cap bump. There's gonna be all that, but how do you go into next year paying guys like Keon Hatcher, Justin McInnes, Javon Katoy, Matthew Betts, the money that they're being paid with the lack of success that they've generated?
yeah. Like I would say that they would almost argue that it isn't a total lack of success because they've been to three of the last four Western finals or four of the last five, whatever the number is right now. But you haven't reached a Grey Cup. You haven't even like played in a Grey Cup game in that time. So it's been Grey Cup or bust for 3 years now, and you haven't gotten the job done. Like
You
if
haven't
you
even
don't,
been the best team in the West during that stretch.
no, exactly,
Like, and I get it. Okay, you've gone to the West Final, cool, but you've lost them.
all of them.
Like, you haven't been the best team in the great in the let alone in the West. Like, you haven't been the best team in the league. You haven't you haven't had success. Like at the end of the
No.
day, like it doesn't matter if you go 12-6 or 0-18. If you don't make the Grey Cup, when you have the roster, the money spent on the players that you have spent money on, it's going to look like a failure,
Yeah,
right? Like, and I'm not saying players 100% deserve the money they're making, but at some point, having given I mean, we see it in the NFL too, we see it in the NHL, we saw it with the Leafs, right? At some point, something's got to give if you're not finding success.
yep,
Making the playoffs is one thing. Winning one playoff game is one thing. But if all you're doing is winning one playoff game and then dipping, because you can't get past that second playoff game, like realistically, going into next year, you have to win 3
yeah,
games to get
to
it.
win
Like,
the Grey Cup,
yeah, you
even
have
if
to win
you finish
2.
first.
Yeah, you have to win 2 games minimum to even get to the Grey Cup.
Yep,
Like, and then you need to win. You need to win 3 games. Like you have your 1-2 game, and then you have. Actually, I think you would have to win. You have to win a minimum of 2 if you're the 1 or the 2 seed.
yeah, and if you're the three or the four,
You have to
you'd
win
have to
3.
win four. Yeah, three,
You have to
three.
win 3 to
Sorry,
get
you're
to
right.
the
Yeah,
Grey Cup. If you're
yeah,
the 3 to 8 seed, or the 5 to 8 seed,
yeah,
and you have to win 2 if you're the 1 to 2 or the 1 to 4 seeds.
yeah,
You've only been able to win 1 consistently. Like at some point, if not this summer, the philosophy around that team needs to change.
yeah,
So it's gonna be very interesting. But I agree, it's kind of a winner like win or go home type game.
yeah,
I think it's as close as a game, like as close to a playoff game in August can feel like.
yeah. And I hope that I know the attendance hasn't been great the first two games back at BC Place. I hope attendance kind of picks up for this game. It usually does when the Riders are in town, but like the Lions have won three games in a row, as I've mentioned a few times, and Vancouver is such a fickle sports town that if you're winning, people will show up, and if you're not, they won't. So if you don't win these next couple of games, your attendance is going to be crap the rest of the year, and that's just the way it is. Like,
Yeah, which is
but
crazy. Like I
But
get it. Ottawa's the same way.
but
So do we want to talk about Hamilton?
yeah, like who starts this week for the Tiger Cats?
It has to
Like,
be Frost.
but Ford won them the game last week. He came in and won the game.
Yeah, but can the question becomes, can you trust him to do that starting?
I know, but like you can't really trust Frost to win a game as a starter either because he hasn't done it. So what do? Play Frost for the first half, and then if you're losing, go to Ford and hope he comes back and wins, which he's already done twice this year. Like it's crazy to me.
I don't know, maybe. Kind of like a starting pitcher and a relief pitcher type thing. Like
Yeah,
a starting quarterback and then your relief quarterback when your starter is time to get out. Like I don't know. But I don't know if Trey Ford can win you a game.
I think he can win you a game, but can he win you multiple games? Can he win you a playoff game? Probably not. Like it's just
Like
I don't know.
I look at Ford and I'm like, okay, where like what's your ceiling from a starting perspective?
Yeah.
Like
And speaking of Hamilton quarterbacks, did you see Bo Levi's post today?
I was gonna mention it, yeah. Out of the walking
Fully,
boot.
yep, fully out of the walking boot, full weight bearing, I believe. So, like, maybe there's a possibility that he comes back sooner than expected.
I don't see him coming back.
But
I mean, if he does, that's great. But part of me feels like if he comes back, he's coming back early,
yeah,
and that
like,
like I don't necessarily think you want that.
no,
To be fair, I think it depends on where the team sits come like September.
yeah, no. This game is another like it's for both of the teams really, Toronto and Hamilton. Like Toronto, after picking up that big win over Calgary 2 weeks ago, played with egg over their all over their face last week. So it's like this game, and they're of course going to play in 2 weeks in Labor Day. This game is going to help determine who gets that second seed and makes the playoffs. And of course, we know with the CFL rules that if you're the 2 seed in the East, you're getting a home playoff game no matter what.
Which is crazy. We're
Yeah.
gonna have, like this is where you're gonna see that home playoff game. Uh, for like a 7-11 team again.
I don't know if it's going to be that bad, but they might be 8-10 and hosting a 10-8, or I don't think 11-7 will be fourth in the West, but I think 10-8 in the West is a distinct possibility.
And this is why they're changing the playoff format.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just I don't know.
Man, Toronto and Hamilton are the two teams where I'm just like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I can't figure out Toronto. 1 week they look like they might be able to compete with Montreal for potentially a spot in the Grey Cup, and then the next week it looks like they're one of the worst teams alongside Ottawa. Like I don't get it with Toronto. I truly don't.
I will say I think, this will be the end of Kelly in Toronto though.
This season as a whole or this game?
This season.
I'd be okay with that.
I think I have a feeling that this is going to be done. Like I don't know if Kelly. I don't think or see Kelly coming back to Toronto after this year.
Yeah. I mean, he's been somewhat successful, but it doesn't look like he's having fun anymore. especially not on a losing team.
No, he keeps getting beat up.
So
Like he's like he plays well, but his interceptions are awful.
yeah, he's just been
So we've talked about Winnipeg. I think the only team we have left to talk about is Saskatchewan.
yeah.
What a
Saskatchewan
good
Roughriders kind of sitting pretty. They look like they've sustained their injuries a little bit. At 6-3, they're getting bodies healthy, and it's going to be between them and Edmonton. It looks like for first in the West, and I mean the reigning defending Grey Cup champions, as coach likes to say, like especially if they can get healthy, I would definitely give them the leg up on Edmonton for that number one seed and the Western Final at Mosaic Stadium for the second year in a row.
Yeah, I think if they host if they can somehow get back into into that number one seed, I don't see anyone going into Mosaic come November and knocking them off.
Yeah. I mean, crazier things have had happen. Winnipeg did it in 2019, but
oh, for sure. Like, and I'm not saying it's not possible. I would be very surprised.
It's the same with Montreal. Somebody could go into Percival Molson and beat him in the East Final. Like,
yeah. I mean, I would be shocked if anyone goes into Montreal and beats them. But to be fair, Montreal went into Toronto when they were 16-2 and put belt and ass on that. Also, just real quick, shout out to Duquois, retiring from the CFL and is gonna more than likely be representing Canada at the Olympics.
Yeah. He was a big part of that flag football winning team. Michael O'Connor was the QB as well, former UBC quarterback, former BC Lion quarterback as well.
Ottawa native.
Yep.
What a gem. What could have been if he
if he didn't get hurt. But
if he didn't let his ego get the best of him.
Yeah. Guy named Nathan Rourke also kind of came into the fold as well, but
he bounced around a lot in college.
Yeah.
Right? Like he went down south, came back up,
he was at Penn State as a freshman, I believe.
Yeah. He was looking like the next best Canadian quarterback.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Villeneuve, the one going to the Golden Bears this year. Same kind of situation.
Yeah, he was at Montreal a couple years ago, was he not?
I don't think so. I think he just went down to the States and kind of bounced around from a couple of state schools before coming back up here. Because he was at Pitt for a while. And then jumped around to another school last year and now is at U Sports this year after not being drafted.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I would still put the Riders as the favorite in the West, and I mean it's pretty obvious that Montreal's the favorite in the East. Like they're probably going to be 9-1 after tomorrow, and then they have their demons to work out because they'll have another game next week, and then it's a home and home with BC, and we've talked about it before. Like they have not been very good when they come to BC in the last 20 some odd years, the Montreal Alouettes. So
no, they have not. They have been very lackluster.
Even as far as the Anthony Calvillo days, they weren't really able to get wins at BC Place. So
fucking Anthony Calvillo, what a gem.
But yeah, I think we kind of quickly covered all 9 teams and our return to the airways, if you will. So should we do some mini previews for the games coming up this week, or?
Yeah, we can.
But starts tomorrow with Montreal. I believe they're hosting Ottawa, correct, Shane?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think there's not much that needs to be said about this game. Like one team's 8-1, the best team in the CFL, and one team's 0-9 and not the best team in the CFL. So I think it's pretty obvious who's going to win this game.
Nah, don't say that. It's
I was gonna say that I was gonna stop myself and say stranger things have happened, but I would definitely go with Montreal in this game.
yeah. I mean, I'm going with Montreal too, but it's the CFL, and you never know.
Yeah, yeah.
You never know.
Like I said, back in week 4, they almost beat them. So,
Yeah.
but
Uh, yeah. That. Uh, so yeah, I mean, Ottawa, Montreal. That's pretty easy. Winnipeg, Edmonton.
I'm gonna go with Edmonton in this game. Like I said a few minutes ago, I'm not gonna totally retract that they were frauds and say that they're for real, but I will say that, I mean, 10 games in, it doesn't look like they're going anywhere this year. And Winnipeg, they're a team that, again, like, we don't know what they are. Are they good? Are they not? Are they in the mushy middle? I think it's probably they're in the mushy middle. And I don't think they're young enough, they're good enough to compete for first place, which unfortunately for them, I believe this game is in Winnipeg, right?
In Edmonton.
It's in Edmonton, okay. But yeah, they're just, I don't think they're gonna go into Edmonton and get the win. So I'm gonna go with the Elks in that game.
Yeah, I think at this point, Winnipeg's on a free fall. I think they're closer to the end than they are to the start. So
Yeah.
Hamilton, Toronto.
I don't know who to take in that game.
I'm taking Toronto. I don't trust any of the quarterbacks in Hamilton. I think that's what it comes down to. It's like, both. No one has really shown the ability to play a full 60.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but I don't trust Hamilton.
Yeah. I would tend to agree with that. Like I was gonna say probably Toronto as well because they played bad last week in Edmonton with all the fumbles, interceptions, and whatever, and offensive giving the defense touchdowns for the Elks. But like, so by that logic, they should play good this week. The game is in Toronto. I do know that for a fact because it's the Argos annual CNE game. But yeah, I don't know. Like they've already played each other once. Hamilton got the win 24-23 thanks to the new Rouge rule, which now that I've seen it in play more than a few times, like that rule is amazing. Like thank gosh they got rid of the loser point. But I think Toronto ties up the series and then that Labor Day game will decide who wins the season series and has the definite inside track to second in the East.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's you win this game, you probably put yourself in a solid position to kind of control your own destiny. And then Saskatchewan at BC, the Sunday night game.
Yeah. As I said earlier,
Saskatchewan.
yeah, I kind of figured you would. But as I said earlier, like I was a lot more confident in the BC Lions just yesterday. The Riders' injury report does worry me a lot, but I'm going to stick with my gut on this one and say the BC Lions get the win. They pull closer to second in the West for now. And I think they put their first real complete performance of the season because they haven't, through 9 games, they really haven't had a complete performance all year. And like, if I'm being completely honest with myself, it hasn't even been close. So I think the Lions know that. I think they're going to hopefully come out with their best. And I think the game will be a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, especially if the Riders are healthier than we thought they were gonna be. But I think the Lions maybe pull out a last second win with Sean White and pull closer to second in the West.
Yeah, and just before we wrap up, the fact that Winnipeg is 2-4 at home and 3-0 on the road is wild.
Nuts.
They are 1-3
Nuts.
against the division, but absolutely wild.
Yeah. So by that logic, maybe we should go with Winnipeg. They're on the road this week.
Yeah, but they're 1-3 against the division.
Yep. Yep. So.
Hope you guys all enjoyed it. We're going to wrap up here, just over an hour. We'll be back here Wednesday. next week, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, YouTube, X, Facebook. We'll be back into the motion of things now that things have kind of calmed down a little bit, even if it's just myself and Blake. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in on X. Remember to make hit that like, subscribe, share button on socials. Hit that alert so you never miss a live. Enjoy this weekend's games, and we'll catch you back here with more CFL, CJFL, and some youth sports primers for next week.